Bike racing, there's a lot I hate about it, but it's the necessary evil to be able to ride your bike every day. I love just the simple idea of riding. My feelings for that and my need for that are great enough that I deal with all the shit. And yeah, that's how I justify it.
Every day you go out and ride, and you can push yourself to breaking point, and you do push yourself. And that's the purpose of the sport is to suffer for longer than anyone else.
My name's Scott Mitchell and I'm a journalist. In December of 2013, a mate of mine, Angus Morton, gave me a call and asked if I could come on a trip.
Hey man, how's it going? Want to come on a trip?
When are you thinking of going?
2 days time.
Just let me check my schedule. Alright, I think I can do it. Where are we going?
Uluru. Lockie and I are going to ride there.
Cool.
One last thing. Can you shoot?
Not really.
You figure it out.
I'd known Angus for years. What I didn't know was that his younger brother Lachlan was one of the best young cyclists in the world at the age of 21.
The youngster from Australia racing for Team Garmin Sharp.
He's going for GC now. He is going for the lead of this race. Oh, he is so psyched. What a finish, Lachlan Morton.
Even though he'd been racing around the world since the age of 16, he'd just finished his first season on the World Tour, racing against winners of the Tour de France and world champions. He wore the yellow leaders jersey in Colorado and in Utah, winning Best Young Rider at both races. What I also hadn't realised is that my friend Angus had turned his back on a professional career that was just as promising when he was 20, to pursue a career in television and living nothing like a pro athlete. The challenge the two brothers set themselves was to ride 2,000 kilometres from their hometown of Port Macquarie across one of the harshest landscapes in the world, the Australian outback, to the centre of the continent, Uluru. Not only would the trip be about riding, it would be about the people we met and the communities we stayed in. Lachlan hadn't told his team, but he would embark on one of the most adventurous pre-season training regimes imaginable. And Angus, after nearly 4 years without riding his bike, was going to try and keep up for every K. I can't drive and don't know anything about cycling, so for that, the boys brought along all-round expert Chris Varco. This is the story of how one first-year pro reacted to the world of cycling, and how one of elite sport's many burnt-out prospects tried to re-engage with a sport that almost destroyed him. So how often a year do you get to see your brother?
12 hours we were together this year, but apart from that I didn't see him.
We're doing the trip because we wanted to hang out together. It's difficult when he's got to ride all the time. Here's this kid who's one of the best up-and-coming bike riders in the world. Let's see if I can hang on to his wheel for 3 weeks and share what that's like for a mere mortal.
He's not trained as he was before, but his head's still at the level where he's like, I want to do exactly what I used to be able to do. I want to keep up. You're still my younger brother, so I want to kick your ass. On the bike, he's a very stubborn and competitive guy.
I'm nervous about there being a day in there hidden away that the last 3.5 years of boozing and smoking and partying and working too hard will catch up with me.
We got to a stage when we were both competitive bike riders, we couldn't train together.
When was the last time you rode together?
Well, we got along really well, but on the bike it was just a totally different thing, so we just would never ride together. So, yeah, it's probably over 5 years ago.
Rightio dudes, let's get on the road. Next stop, Uluru. When we last raced and rode together, we were pretty evenly matched. And so I've kind of carried that mindset. I'm the older brother, I'm supposed to be better, and I'm supposed to be kind of, looking after him. But in reality, there's miles apart. He does this for a living, and I haven't touched a bike for so long. And I think he is being kind to me by kind of not letting that show and kind of biting his lip when he probably would prefer to just be riding by himself.
I was always a really competitive kid, so I was on my motorbike when I was 4. Like when I was 5 or 6, you know, one of our mates got run over, I ran him over, and he was like knocked out, and then I think our parents got really worried, so they took our motorbikes away from us. I was devastated because as far as I was concerned, I was going to be a Formula 1 driver. And it was on the TV one morning, the Tour de France, kind of an ad for it, and I was like, they look like they're going pretty fast. And so I thought, well, that's the next fastest thing I can do. I've got a bike downstairs.
We used to just make like Frankenstein bikes under the house with all the shit we had. The one common element between all the bikes is we'd always take the brakes off. We just never thought you needed brakes.
I've never even thought about it, but now thinking about it, it's probably taught us aggression, and it taught us good bike handling skills. It also taught us no fear. So that's kind of our first experiences of racing.
In the morning, Angus and I get our first interview of the trip after spotting a house on the edge of town filled with giant wrought iron sculptures.
Well, my name's Snowy Harris, Trevor Harris, they call me Snow. I lived in Walker since 1980, and many years ago I was a fucking pisspot, you know. I was on the grog all the time, and I give the grog up, and I used to have something to do weekends, so I just started to make things. Oh, well, Araby is a mate of mine, you know, like he was a bike rider back in the 60s, and he rode for New South. He was here one day when it all started, and I had them big wheels, and I said, I might make a bike out of this and put you on it. And it just went from there. I was a shearer for 28 years, that's all I've done all my life, and other than that, done a bit of fencing and that. And I'm not trying to be a big note and cunt or nothing, but I was a pretty good shearer. When I learnt to shear, my old man told me, he said, you want to learn to shear properly, boy. He said, because you'll get in some trouble in your life. He said, so if you can shear a sheep properly, no one can say anything about you.
Have you got any advice for him?
I said, no, I haven't got any advice, but I wouldn't like to be riding a bush bike that far anyway.
This road I have no story about. Strangely, I had this persistence. I went out and I just rode my bike. You know, about 8.5 years of age, I started doing this 15-kilometre loop on my bike once a week, and always had to push it up this one hill. The rest is history. I then went and started winning state titles at 13, and then national titles at 14, and then, you know, went to the World Championships at 16.
Growing up, I was definitely in the shadow of Gus, for sure. Like Dad, really loved what Gus was doing. So my mindset was like, well, if I can just try and achieve what he achieved or better at the same age, then like I deserve the same recognition, which I was doing. But the thing was, it's like all of a sudden, 2 years later, a state title wasn't a big deal because Gus had already won, 10 of them or whatever. So then he was winning national titles. So then by the time I was winning national titles, he was representing Australia at the World Championships, So I really looked up to what he was doing. But at the same time, I wanted to kick his ass.
The car goes ahead of the boys into Gunnedah, and once they catch up, we find Gus, after 5 hours of riding in plus 35-degree heat, is like a zombie. Although he tries to play it down, you just need to take one look at him to realise how deep he's gone.
We've got a lot of food. Do you have 50 cents? Do you have any cans of Coke left?
I've got 50 cents.
$1.50, cans of Coke are $2 apparently.
Last 5 Ks is just $5.
Describe the feeling of that Coke.
Yeah, it's impossible to describe. It's perfect.
Today there were some big cracks appeared towards the end. I think it was just the heat. It was sort of a really weird, but it just, all my energy just went and like that. Today would be the longest ride since I quit about 3.5, 4 years ago. That kind of was it just gave me a little bit of nerves. Sort of, it's not settled in. It's more the idea of like, what if my body just can't handle it? What if the legs just don't turn one day? I'm stuck, and that would be devastating for me.
The problem is, it's only day 2.
The dude wants a beer.
It's really painful. Like, a lot of it's a mental thing because you're trying to ride this positive thought throughout this massive effort. So if you break it down that way, it's not so bad mentally, but physically it's still really painful, you know, like, because your body doesn't want to do it. Like, your body's telling your brain, no, like, I don't want to do this, because it's a primal thing, you know, because you're breaking down your muscles, you're just basically really draining your body for everything it's got. And you're not getting chased by a fucking cheetah or something, so your body's like, you don't need to be doing this, don't. And then your brain's trying to say, well, no, we need to do it. So it's this like conflict. I finished Tour of Portugal. I was 18 at the time, I think. And it's one of the hardest tours there is in the world, like, still, even now. It was the last race of the season, and we were in this weird, like, dingy little bar, and we were drinking vodka orange juice. And there was all these just old people in the bar. It was just full of old people. And then I was kind of like, I'm sort of bored with this. Like, we need to do something funny or, like, liven this situation up. And I'm just like, hey guys, watch this. And there had been this lady standing at the bar. She had no teeth. Was probably like 65, and I just walked up and I was like, can I buy you a drink? And she like kind of understood what I was saying. She's like, and I was like, the only catch is, and this is what I said to her without the other guy seeing, I'm like, if I buy you a drink, we're gonna make out. She kind of got the gist of it. So these guys looked over and I was just making out with this toothless old woman from Portugal, and I just thought it was the funniest thing. I was like looked at these guys like they didn't know me that well. It was just, like, to me that was humour, and they just like were like, oh my god, like, no, you didn't.
After a shorter ride today, everyone's in good spirits. The Great Western Hotel, the local pub, provides beers and an explanation of how the locals like to go pig hunting.
I'm Prisky. Ben.
Pumpkinhead. We'll have a big head.
Well, he just got made redundant, so he's just got a payout of 17 grand. Oh, West Track. They pissed him off. He's already got another job lined up. He's sweet.
I have got to go fucking pigging on this trip.
Right, you got to use your dogs. So you get good breeded dogs, train them up. Usually they're usually already.
You gonna buy
trained up.
Yeah.
It's more of adrenaline rush. As soon as you can see those dogs get a set jump up that ute, you just start beaming. And then run in and stick them with a knife. Just
stick them. Just
flip
stick
them.
them. Just stick them.
That's pretty good. That cracked me heaps. Getting back on track, man. You watch.
Look out, Lockie, he's coming.
Off from Cobar to Brogan Hill today. We're doing like 150 through kind of a back road.
I just kind of looked on the map and it
looked cool.
There's a shitload of road trains around here. And by the sounds of the guys at the pub last night, they like to drive pretty fast, so best to get off that road. It's a lot easier to talk about the things you hate about bike riding because you have so much time to ponder them. The moments when you're like, man, I would love bike riding, are few and far between.
How close have you come to quitting the sport?
The closest I was this year. After Tour of Swiss, I was like, told mum and dad I was gonna rack it because all those negatives just built up, and there wasn't really any positives. When I sort of decided, I spoke to Gus because he's had experience in that area, early retirement.
I remember sending him an email like in June or something. In the end, like, you can always just leave, but you may as well just ride the rest of the season out because it's there, and then work it out at the end of that as opposed to calling it quits halfway through.
Kind of set myself a deadline for the end of the year to like start performing or try something else. And then, yeah, everything clicked, and then when I started performing then, it was well beyond expectation.
See that scar there? Yeah. My mate Anthony from high school, when the global financial crisis happened, he took all of his money out of the bank and bought gold bars and a shotgun and a rifle. And so we go down to the range, and so he takes like a dozen shots and he's like, "Oh, Scott, you have a go." And then I just lose any perspective on what I'm doing, and the butt of the gun slips from my shoulder to under my shoulder, and I take the next shot and it just comes screaming back. The scope takes that chunk out of my forehead, and I stand up, pretend I'm adjusting my fringe, and go, "I'll see you back at the car, mate." We race to like Prince Alfred, like, "Stitch me up, stitch me up." "You'll have to wait, sir."
I haven't put any expectations on how I'm meant to be feeling. I sort of came in expecting just to be grovelling through the whole thing and that be part of it.
Like my brother, I've always copied what he did, and then now because I'm like on the bike rider, he's like, "Fuck, I'll just copy what you do." So he's like fallen into this routine where he'll just do what I do, which is kind of like, I've never seen Gus do that before.
I think he's genuinely enjoying riding his bike and enjoying going a different way about it. Coming into this, like, that was always the idea, so you kind of expected that. But then when you actually think about it, and then you think about the position he's put himself in as a professional bike rider, it's completely unique. Who the fuck else is doing this? No one else is doing this. I suppose it's very selfish. It's a selfish job, so therefore, you know, like, everything has to be right for you. When I was riding, like, everything revolved around, you're like, "Oh, well, I can't clean that up because I got to go and get a massage," or like, "I can't pick that up because I've, you know, got to go ride my bike then." You know, it's always you can't do certain things because you're holding off for yourself.
So I have a girlfriend of a couple of years now, and we're really close, really love her. There'll be times in the season you're compromising things and you're really putting bike riding like, "Fuck, I really need to do this." And you're like, maybe it'd be easier if I didn't have a girlfriend. And then, like, as soon as I say that, I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, that's like all you've got, you know? Like, that's the best thing you have. Like, what, like, you're fucking out of touch, you know?" And then all of a sudden you realize, like, yeah, like, I am out of touch, you know?
When the rain don't fall.
I'm
The sun
working
don't shine.
for a company
He is driven for oil, just to make some change.
Living and working on the land.
2, 3, 4 or 5, they do 50 and then 1, 2, 3, 4. 50 it is. Wow, they want to go up to 55. That's a good race pace, you know, that's on a flat race pace on a multi-stage tour. So we've up to 57. And Gus is still there, even on the gentle climb, so yeah, I reckon he's doing really well, wanting to motor. Go guys. Awesome. Awesome. He's gonna give it some stick now. 58. But I think that Lucky will want to do, he'll be wanting to do 60 for last few K inward. Woo! Woo! You're doing well.
Yeah, there's a few spots there where I was fucking on the river. About 15k out, and I just was popping and Lockie offered me the hand. I was like, nah, I can't do it. If I do that, that's calling it. That's like admitting that you've popped. I was like, I can't admit that, otherwise I will pop.
He's definitely pushing himself pretty hard, and there's a few times when I would rather him just cool it a bit, you know? The thing with motor pacing is like, the further you drop back from the draft source, the less draft you're getting, so it's exponentially harder. I was trying to give him a hand just to sling him back up to the car, and he just wouldn't do it, you know? Like, he's just so fucking stubborn. He's just like, no. So just like battle for like an extra 30 seconds. I'm like, oh, it's hurting. Like, and he just like slowly comes back, and he does it. He was totally smashed, but he was just like, yeah, I did it. To take it out of the cycling context, it's like you're getting your head held underwater, right? It's like he's gasping for breath, like, and then kicking really hard trying to get to the top, you know, and then like a hand comes down, like to pull you straight out of that situation. But you're like, no, fuck you, I don't need your help. I'm gonna swim to the top myself. Well, there's all these guys that hang around pro bike riding, and they used to hang out at races, but before there was internet and that, they just want to collect stuff, like bike stuff. And now, like with Facebook, they can just kind of get directly in contact. This guy wants a jersey, number, time trial, suit, cap, or other things for my collection, please. And they're usually pretty pushy. So I always just say I'm a collector of spoons, and then that if they send me like some sort of unique spoon, I'll send them a jersey.
Have you ever got spoons?
No, they always just, then actually they get quite angry. Like, because for a little while they're a little bit confused, and I think they realise, like, you're taking the piss.
Righto, dude.
This would be a hard training load to take on anywhere, but then to take it on the road is harder again. But I mean, we did 200 Ks in 5 hours today. It's race speed, you know, that's like what you do in tours and that sort of thing. And he did that. What he did today was equivalent to what an accomplished bike rider can do. And if you put it in the time frame of a month, like, and just put it together, it's really impressive.
Well, coming back again, it certainly brought back competitive spirit. I haven't been had a competitive spirit for, God, like 5 or 6 years, you know, long before I finished bike riding. But I find myself riding, I've got this real mongrel about me, like, I still haven't been challenged by anything we've done yet. It's surprising.
Ready? I'm Lachlan Morton. This is Redneck Wakeboarding. It's a crucial time in training and all that sort of stuff, but it's also a time where you need to, well for me anyway, I need to just sort of totally disconnect myself from that world that is pro bike riding.
I think it'll make him survive in the sport. And I also think it'll just make him a more rounded, wholesome, interesting person. You know, regardless of whatever he does and regardless of whatever he wants to do post bike riding or within bike riding, you know, I'd much rather hang out with someone who's interesting than someone who's not interesting. So it's kind of cool that my brother's become interesting.
Okay,
yeah.
Safety's on.
All right.
Okay, until you see that red dot, that's what reminds you. See that red dot there?
Yeah.
Now if you pull the trigger,
It
goes bang. It went through. Didn't you hear it?
Fuck me.
Just remember that's going to kick back so don't hit yourself in the face with the scope. That's it, perfect.
Dude, how intense is it?
Oh, it's pretty intense, man. A long few days of travelling and we're more isolated than we've been. On the road into the tiny desert town of Mari, barely a word was spoken. But once we meet the guys who run the local pub, Lockie sparks up, talking his way into shooting their rifle and getting us a tour of the underground cellars. This is amazing.
This is 130 years old. Really? Yeah.
So, tell me about the whole setup you've got down here.
Oh, well, I needed a place to keep all my toys because my room isn't big enough. It's probably half the size of this where I stay. It's just got a bed and my Xbox and TV. So this is where I keep all my toys. Oh, you're kidding. See, I let the kids down here. And it's missing one. Oh, you're right.
Chris,
Yep.
see these walls?
Yep.
That's salt.
Salt. Man.
And there's a mixture of sandstone in there as well, so like before it's time.
The Mari Hotel, where the beer and the singlets are free, the cellars are big, and the staff don't really seem to give a fuck. This is the best pub I will ever go to in my life.
To be a man. What's up?
Pretty perfect.
Like
Little too much Ed. Pretty good though.
So we've got to order.
I was in the Air Force for a few years. I left the Air Force and worked in intelligence and security, and I thought, bugger it, time to come to Australia as far away from home as I can. And I was here for about a year. I'd gone all around the coast and everywhere on that, and I thought it's time to take a look at the centre. So I bought a car and started coming up from Adelaide and come to Mari. And I walked into the pub. It was pretty busy. I asked them if they needed a little bit of help. I said, go for it. So I jumped behind the bar, poured a few drinks, and enjoyed the night. At the end of the night, they said, we've got some work for you. And I was travelling with a mate. Got some work for you and a mate for a couple of weeks if you want it. At the end of those 2 weeks, the bar sales had gone up like 40 or 50%. Whether it was me or not, I have no idea. But probably just a coincidence. But they took it as a good sign and offered to sponsor me, so they sponsored me. I'm now in the pub full time. That's how I ended up in Mari.
What time is it, mate?
It's a bit before 6 in the morning. We got off about 5. We're at a town called Mari, which is in the middle of the desert. It was 40 degrees here yesterday, so we're getting on the road early so we can beat the heat. Essentially, we're going to do about 4 hours. So we'll hopefully be done by about 10 and miss the worst of the heat. We're off to Cooper Pedy today. So a bit of driving, go past Lake Eyre and go past Williams Creek Station and stuff like that. So it should be a pretty fun day.
Nice
We tied one on a bit last night. The Maori pub were very hospitable. We had a few beers and a few wines, and so should make for an interesting morning.
Just riding your bike in a place that was so special and then also so challenging. It's hard to explain, but for me that's like what bike riding is. I'm not a religious person, but it's almost like meditation for me to be able to go out there and ride like that. And then when I say ride, like I mean get stuck in, you know, when we were riding hard.
When Gus quit cycling 4.5 years ago, he had 2 contract offers on the table.
Chan McRae called me to offer me the contract, and he was calling at like 11 o'clock, so I had to quickly call Dad and go, Dad, I'm quitting. I've got to go because I've got to answer this call from Chan to tell him that I'm not accepting the contract. It's really hard to explain because like cycling was genuinely for about 4 or 5 years for me like a traumatic experience. Like it was really traumatic. I can almost remember the exact day. I would have been maybe 14 or 15. I'd been surfing in the morning, bodyboarding, and I came home and I was like, righto, I want to be a climber. I was a big kid and I sort of thought, okay, well, I want to be a climber, so it means I needed to get real skinny. And so I just started dieting like in the extreme. I'd kind of do these things that would be so extreme, you know, that I'd be like out training, say, and I would go for 4 hours and I wouldn't eat at all. Your body's got no energy. It's like your vision starts getting blurred and you start making really bad decisions. You can't think properly. And you know, I'd go and do that, and I'd do that day and day on end, and kind of just be destroying my body, and then still go out and race. And I'd kind of self-sabotage races, so I wouldn't try as hard in certain races because I didn't want to win sprints, because I thought that sprints would bulk you up too much. I never remember what it was like to feel good. Like I just didn't feel good on the bike for like 3 years before I finished. You know, like I just didn't have one genuinely good race. So I think I just lost perspective, and then it got so warped, and all these hang-ups that I had and ideas that were impossible to break. I remember thinking like, what I'm doing is irrational. It doesn't make any sense. Like I'm more intelligent than this, but I couldn't break the cycle. I had psychiatrists and stuff like that, but I could always convince them that I was fine. Like I remember people were just going, yeah, he's doing really well. Like he's improved heaps. And I remember just being like, I just took you for a fucking ride. And so that's why in the end I was like, I have to leave. Like I'm leaving because I'll never be good in the state of mind that I'm currently in. And I'm just sick of never being happy.
I was a little bit pissed off because it was kind of like he was just abandoning ship, leaving me there, you know? Like, it's like, yeah, well, it sucks, but like, I have to keep doing it, so why shouldn't you have to keep doing it? That was like my initial reaction. I don't know, I just felt like he was abandoning what we were doing.
When I was 13 years old, I got told I could win the goddamn Tour de France. I was on a bike attached to a breathing apparatus in Spain, and with a doctor who looked after Once, and we did a test with him on a bike, and he said like, you know, right now your ability is as good as like the best 18-year-olds, and you're 13. It was my 13th birthday, and you could, you know, he's like, I can see no reason why not in the future you won't be capable of winning the Tour de France. And so like, you hear that when you're 13, and like you're like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And after a while, you're just like, I wish no one had said that to you.
And I'm glad it didn't work out that way, because that would have been shit, you know? That we wouldn't have done all this. We would have, been updating our Twitter about, you know, the weather in Spain. Oh, great, another sunny day for training.
As we're leaving, going through one of the little towns today, there was a sign just saying, warning, like you are now going out into the wilderness. You're in extreme danger. Be careful. just riding out on our bikes. It's pretty funny. Fuck, man. That was an epic. That was really good.
It's a little bit scary going back here. Do you think you could drop in, Gus? I really want to.
Hours and hours getting it right.
Just over 800 k's, I think, before we get to Uluru. We've got a few days to get there. So now there's no real plan. We're just kind of riding until we either see somewhere just to stop and camp, or I don't know, see somewhere interesting that we think might be a good little spot to stop. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
Still carrying that whiskey bottle on it.
Yeah, it's just in case, you know.
In case of what?
I don't know. It's comforting to know I've got it. So I'm just keeping it in the pocket there. In there with the phone, 2 essentials. Yeah, especially when you're headed into the unknown, you always got to take a whiskey bottle.
I was working on a show. It was the first show I directed. I had like a really kick-ass job, a beautiful girlfriend. I had like a great home. I was moving forward in my career really rapidly. Like, could do whatever the fuck I wanted. And I wasn't at all happy. Couldn't work out why I wasn't happy. Once I finished bike riding, I kind of went, you know, to the other extreme. I was drinking too much, partying too much, because that was the only outlet that I could have. And I just realized that all I would do was work my ass off all week and then go and get wasted on the weekend. And I stopped and kind of took stock and looked back at the way I was living. I thought, Jesus, man, you need to like change a few things. You know, you're a little bit out of control here. So I started riding again just because there was a bike there that at Mum and Dad's place in the States. I started riding it. It was like brilliant.
And alcohol is just generally antioxidant, fuel, dietary.
Pain numbing.
Anesthesia.
It's good for your mental state.
It sharpens the mind.
Makes you quicker to react. Helps you to ride faster.
Gives the liver a rest.
We're trying to get into 300 Ks today.
I mean, they've done a 200 day, so under these conditions, a 300 should be right there. The guys have just upped it to 65 as we come into, well, we're only about 15 Ks off the 300 K mark. They want to go up to 70. Up again, they're wanting to go up to 75. Well, 75 K would be the finishing sprint speed in the last few hundred metres of a race. We're going to 80 K now. Nope, they've gone.
Sorry, I just checked the computer on my bike, and it had the fastest 40 kilometers of today's ride took us 40 minutes exactly. So that's a 60 k an hour average. All nice.
How good's that?
It's very good. It's the first ever Stewart Highway cannonball run. Fastest 300 kilometres ever ridden on Stewart Highway, I'm guessing.
That cop was a little interested in us for a while.
Sure, we were riding along with 60 without helmets.
Fire?
Fire. Need a heavy one.
Nice one. Thanks, mate.
The spoon collection, yes, he's located a couple of spoons. And sent me through some photos to make sure they were up to scratch, and they were quite a nice, a long gold one. And then the second one wasn't quite so nice. I think it was plastic, but I said he had a deal. This is the first person who's fulfilled the request. Maybe they'll be waiting for me when I get home.
We're in Colgra, just inside first pub inside Northern Territory. I've got a map. I got a pin for my hat. I've got a campsite for like $20.
Not to get off the seat and go, ha ha ha.
You kid, you just get bored and just go, I'm getting off.
Today we're headed basically to Uluru. Because we're so close, we sort of figured, well, let's bash out a big day today and get within sort of 15 or 20 Ks of the rock.
The mood kind of this morning was like, oh, we'll just knock out 200k. Then as soon as we hit the road, we're kind of like, oh, our legs are a little like toasted, you know, like because we've just done 2 big days.
Lockie's absolutely hunting at the moment, and it's good to be able to train behind him. And in the last few days, it feels like I've gone from drowning in the pool and not being able to really contribute to the training rides to at least being able to hang in there. You know, we've been cranking from the start, but it feels like we're really cranking now. And it's like, why stop? Because, you know, I'm not broken yet. Let's break me.
Chris drove up in the car and he's like, it's a little bit longer than we thought. And I was thinking like maybe 30, 40k. I'm like, oh, it's manageable. He's like, so it's about 310. As soon as he said that, I was like, shit, I'm gonna have to ride 310k. There's no two ways about it.
Now once you get the thought in your head, you have to. You can't back down from it.
It's a great song.
And so, because we've thought about it, we're just gonna have to do it.
I think I just felt a little bit of rain, Lock.
Oh, I hope it pisses down. It's so good. I hope the heavens open up.
I think it's just like making it interesting again. Sports have all been reduced to statistics. The number of yards run for a touchdown, it's the number of goals kicked in the fourth quarter, it's the number of watts you put out per kilogram of body mass. And these things remove the larger-than-life element from sports. What we've done on this trip is re-engage that. You know, we've never raced those distances. We've tried to go down roads and to go through places that are far more interesting than the number of watts we're putting out and, you know, the speed at which we're averaging.
I think that like you could definitely do things, you know, differently to the way they've been done the last 50 years. It doesn't have to be this specific idea of, you know, there's one way to performance and that you have to block everything else out. There's all these people that never would have really known cycling was even a profession if we hadn't ridden through these communities. I like the idea that you could take, you know, the most elite level and then just bring it right back down and still achieve what you needed to. I really wanted to do the last 10k really hard because you would never go that hard if it wasn't anyone but your brother. It's just kind of like a boxing match. You don't want to win, you just want to like challenge each other. An extreme like an athletic effort like that blocks out any other possible thought in your head. And then as soon as you switch it off, you become like aware of where you're at.
I'm sure. It's steady. It's still cold.
Yeah. That's just what I need.
Fuck, that was a bitch, that last 10Ks, you prick.
It's amazing how little you share with people about yourself, about your prospects, about your past, And it's amazing how coming out to somewhere like this, you feel at ease. You open up and you learn all these things about yourself. You remember stories you'd forgotten about. You talk about things that you were too afraid to talk about to strangers that you've met 10 minutes earlier.
Your mindset can, you know, even in one ride can change 4 or 5 times, let alone over a season or, you know, a career. I just hope that I can remember how good and that can be. And at the end of the day, like, you got to do something, so it's not so bad.